Before we begin the installations, let's cover a bit about some terminology that we'll be using throughout the video.
Adhesive anchor is an anchor that is installed using a chemical adhesive. The adhesive may create a mechanical or chemical bond between the base material, concrete, and the anchor. Expansion anchors are a wide variety of anchors that expand through deformation or torque to create a mechanical connection with the base material. Cracked concrete. For the scope of this training, we will simplify the definition to include concrete that may crack through the line of the anchor during its service life. For more technical information about cracked concrete code requirements, please see our technical and training resources specific to the subject. A heavy-duty screw anchor is a post-installed anchor that is a threaded mechanical fastener placed in a pre-drilled hole. The anchor derives its tensile holding strength from the mechanical interlock of the fastener threads with the grooves cut into the concrete during the anchor installation. A damp hole, as defined in ASTM E1512 and referenced in ICC-ES-AC 58, is a drilled hole that has been properly drilled and cleaned, and then is filled with standing water for 7 days. After 7 days, the standing water is blown out of the hole with compressed air, and the adhesive anchor is installed. For practical purposes, a damp hole is a hole that does not have standing water in it, but the concrete edges of the hole are not completely dry. A water-filled hole is defined similarly to a damp hole. However, the standing water is not blown out of the hole. Instead, the adhesive is injected directly into the water-filled hole, and the insert is installed. A submerged hole is similar to a water-filled hole with one major exception. In addition to standing water within the hole, water also completely covers the surface of the base material. Note that drilling debris and sludge should be removed from the drilled hole prior to installation. ASTM E1512 and ICC-ES-AC 58 do not address this condition. Undercut anchor is a post-installed anchor that develops its tensile strength from the mechanical interlock provided by the undercutting of the concrete at the embedded end of the anchor. The torque cut anchor is a type of undercut anchor. Edge distance is a measure between the anchor center line and the free edge of the concrete or masonry member. Critical edge distance is the least edge distance at which the allowable load capacity of an anchor is applicable without reductions. Minimum edge distance is the least edge distance at which the anchors are tested for recognition. Spacing is the measure between anchors, centerline to centerline distance. Critical spacing is the least anchor spacing distance at which the allowable load capacity of an anchor is applicable, such that the anchor is not influenced by neighboring anchors. Minimum spacing is the least anchor spacing at which the anchors are tested for recognition. Concrete masonry unit is a hollow or solid masonry unit made from cementitious materials, water, and aggregates. Grout-filled masonry is a hollow unit masonry in which the cells are filled solidly with grout.
Proper hole preparation is vital to any anchor installation. Follow the following steps regardless of what type of anchor is being installed.
Prior to any drilling of holes, ensure that all holes are measured and spaced correctly according to the specifications. If you are unsure of the correct measurements, please refer to the Simpson catalog. Failure to comply with the correct anchor and/or edge spacing can result in load reduction. Be sure to evacuate as much dust as possible during the drilling to prevent overheating your drill bits. Check your depth with a gauge. Drill the hole to the specified diameter and depth listed either in the Simpson Anchor Systems catalog or on the anchor packaging. Each anchor will list the correct diameter and depth needed for proper installation. In some cases, the requirements may be specified on the engineering plans. Blow all dust from the hole by using oil-free compressed air for a minimum of 4 seconds. Be sure to use proper eye protection before blowing out the dust. Blow from the bottom of the hole to expel as much dust as possible. Brush the hole with a nylon brush for a minimum of 4 cycles. Don't use a steel wire brush, as this may cause the brush to leave remnants behind and result in improper hole cleaning. Blow the remaining dust from the hole by using oil-free compressed air for a minimum of 4 seconds at 80 psi. If these steps have not been followed before any anchor or adhesive is installed, the hole must be flushed out with clean water until the hole is completely free of any residue.
Simpson offers several different adhesive formulations for different applications. However, the basic installation procedures are the same for each.
Check the expiration date on the product label. Do not use an expired product. The adhesive product is usable until the end of the printed expiration month. Open the cartridge per the package instructions. Attach the proper SST nozzle to the top of the open cartridge. Do not modify the nozzle. Place the cartridge into the dispensing tool. Dispense some adhesive off to the side until the adhesive is properly mixed. When properly mixed, the adhesive will have a uniform color. For dry and damp hole conditions, use the following steps. Fill the hole half to 2/3 full, starting from the bottom of the hole to prevent air pockets. Withdraw the nozzle as the hole fills up. Depending on the type of tool you are using, pull back on the plunger, push forward on the trigger, or press the thumb release to release the pressure and stop the flow of the adhesive. Insert a clean oil-free anchor rod, turning it slowly counterclockwise until the anchor contacts the bottom of the hole or is at the appropriate depth. The adhesive should be at least level with the surface and have no empty space around the rod. Do not disturb the anchor until it is fully cured. Please see the cure schedule for each specific adhesive formula. For wet holes or holes filled with water, you must be sure that the adhesive can be installed in this condition. And if so, what changes to the cure schedule or capacity may occur? If the hole is filled with water, dispense epoxy as instructed, and the water will displace itself as epoxy fills the hole. This can only be done if all the proper hole preparations have been completed. For overhead applications, use the adhesive retaining caps to prevent the adhesive from running out of the hole. Insert the cap into the hole and be sure it is securely in place. Insert the end of the nozzle through the cap and inject the adhesive into the cavity. Stop the flow of adhesive in the manner previously mentioned and gently pull the nozzle from the hole without removing the retaining cap. Insert the anchor rod through the hole in the retaining cap, slowly turning it counterclockwise. Allow the anchor to cure undisturbed. Epoxy adhesives are used for threaded rod anchoring, rebar doweling, bonding hardened concrete to hardened concrete, pick-proof sealant around doors, windows, and fixtures, and as a paste over for crack injection.
Epoxies can generally be used in higher temperatures and allow more working time, and they are more forgiving regarding hole diameter and preparation than other adhesives.
Surfaces to receive epoxy must be clean and free of dust or oils. The base material temperature must be 40 degrees Fahrenheit or above at the time of installation. Check the Anchor product packaging for proper base material temperature guidelines prior to installation. For best results, the epoxy material should be 70 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit at the time of application. Cartridges should not be immersed in water to facilitate warming. This can cause water to get inside the cartridge and react with the epoxy. To warm cold material, store the cartridges in a warm, uniformly heated area or storage container for a sufficient time to allow the epoxy to warm completely. Mixed material in the nozzle can and will harden in 5 to 7 minutes at a temperature of 40 degrees Fahrenheit or above. Continuing to use the material before it starts hardening in the nozzle will reset the use time. Proper planning and hole preparation will allow you to use an entire cartridge with only one nozzle. Don't try to drill, prepare, and install anchors into one hole at a time, as this will likely cause your nozzle to become clogged and need to be replaced. When properly mixed, Simpson epoxy adhesives may be tan, gray, or teal in color based on the formula for easy identification.
Anchors installed with epoxy adhesives are approved for the following applications:
Seismic and wind loading in cracked and uncracked concrete. Static tension and shear loading in cracked and uncracked concrete. Horizontal and overhead installations. Long-term creep at elevated temperatures. Static loading at elevated temperatures. Damp holes. Freeze-thaw conditions. Critical and minimum edge distance and spacing. Holes should be drilled and prepared in the manner previously explained. Epoxy anchors should be installed with a hole that is 1/8 inch larger than the diameter of the bolt or rod. A poorly drilled hole, or one that is too large, is generally not a problem. Please consult the current Simpson Anchor Systems catalog for details. A mixing nozzle is required for proper installation, so it is recommended that you drill and prepare all your holes and then return and install the epoxy and rods as a secondary process. The anchor rod can be rebar or threaded rod. Threaded rod used as a conventional anchor. Rebar used for doweling. Acrylic adhesives are used for threaded rod anchoring, rebar doweling, and pick-proof sealant around doors, windows, and fixtures. Acrylic adhesives are best used in colder temperatures and have quicker curing times. Surfaces to receive acrylic adhesive must be clean and free of dust, oil, and frost. The base material temperature must be 0 degrees Fahrenheit or above at the time of installation. For information on installations below 0 degrees Fahrenheit, contact Simpson Strong-Tie. Since the acrylic product doesn't thicken when it's cold, it is easy to dispense even when the cartridges are extremely cold. Mixed material in the nozzle can and will harden in 5 to 7 minutes. Continuing to use the material before it starts hardening in the nozzle will reset the use time. Proper planning and hole preparation will allow you to use an entire cartridge with only one nozzle. Don't try to drill, prepare, and install anchors into one hole at a time, as this will likely cause your nozzle to become clogged and need to be replaced. Acrylic adhesives are gray in color when properly mixed. Anchors installed with acrylic adhesives are approved for the following applications: static loading at elevated temperatures, damp and water-filled holes, freeze-thaw conditions, critical and minimum edge distance and spacing. Holes should be drilled and prepared in the manner previously explained. Acrylic anchors should be installed with a hole that is 1/16 inch larger than the diameter of the bolt or rod. A poorly drilled hole, or one that is too large, is generally not acceptable for acrylic. Please consult the current Simpson Anchor Systems catalog for details. A mixing nozzle is required for proper installation, so it is recommended that you drill and prepare all your holes and then return and install acrylic adhesive in rods as a secondary process.
Screen tubes are designed for a specific adhesive type and are designed to contain adhesive around the anchor and prevent it from running into voids.
Screen tubes are vital to the performance of adhesive anchors in base materials that are hollow or contain voids, such as hollow block and brick. Epoxy tie screen tubes must be used with set or ET formulations, and acrylic tie screen tubes must be used with AT acrylic tie adhesive. Do not use set 1.7 KT or set 1.7 KTA with screen tubes. Holes should be drilled and prepared in the manner previously explained. Dispense a bead of adhesive off to the side to check for proper mixture, a uniform gray color, before filling the screen. Fill the screen completely, starting at the bottom to avoid air pockets. Close the cap and insert the screen into the hole. Anchor rods must be clean and oil-free. Insert the rod, turning it slowly until it contacts the bottom of the screen. Do not disturb during cure time. The torque-cut self-undercutting anchor is a heavy-duty, high-capacity anchor designed and tested for use in cracked concrete under static and seismic loading conditions. The torque-cut anchor is intended for interior environments where low levels of moisture and corrosive chemicals are present. The torque-cut anchor is most commonly used for overhead applications, ledgers, and equipment anchorage. Be sure to use the correct diameter drill bit. Caution: oversized holes in the base of the material will make it difficult to set the anchor and will reduce the anchor's load capacity. Do not use an impact wrench to set or tighten the torque-cut anchor. Be sure that you are not installing the torque-cut anchor too close to an edge of the concrete or too close to another anchor. Check the current Simpson Anchor Systems catalog for edge and spacing requirements. The torque-cut anchor can be installed preset or through an existing fixture. Let's look at the preset process first. Holes should be drilled and prepared in the manner previously explained. Assemble the anchor with the nut and washer and finger tighten the nut so all components are snug. Spacer sleeve, expansion sleeve, and cone. The bottom of the threaded rod should be flush with the bottom of the cone. Place the anchor into the drilled hole and use a hammer and setting tube to drive the anchor until the washer and nut are tight against the surface of the base material. Remove the nut and washer and install the fixture. Reassemble the nut and washer over the fixture. Tighten to the required installation torque. Now let's look at the through-set process. Holes should be drilled and prepared in the manner previously explained. Assemble the anchor with the nut and washer and finger tighten the nut so all components are snug. Spacer sleeve, expansion sleeve, and cone. The bottom of the threaded rod should be flush with the bottom of the cone. Place the anchor through the fixture and into the drilled hole. Use a hammer and setting tube to drive the anchor until the washer and nut are tight against the fixture. Tighten to the required installation torque.
The strong bolt is a wedge anchor specifically designed for optimum performance in both cracked and uncracked concrete.
The strong bolt anchor sets like a standard wedge anchor and is available in imperial fractional sizes. Interior environments where low levels of moisture and corrosive chemicals are present. The strong bolt is a mechanical anchor that is most commonly used for ledgers, interior walls, racking, and equipment anchorage. While drilling the holes, be sure to use the correct diameter drill bit. Caution: oversized holes in the base material will make it difficult to set the anchor and will reduce the anchor's load capacity. Assemble the anchor with the nut and washer so that the top of the nut is flush with the top of the anchor. Place the anchor in the fixture and drive it into the hole until the washer and nut are tight against the fixture. Be sure that you are not installing the strong bolt too close to an edge of the concrete or too close to another anchor. Check the current Simpson Anchor Systems catalog for edge and spacing requirements. Tighten to the required installation torque. Do not use an impact wrench to set or tighten the strong bolt anchor.
The Titan HD anchor is a high-strength screw anchor for concrete and masonry.
It is designed for optimum performance in both cracked and uncracked concrete. The self-undercutting, non-expansion characteristics of the Titan HD anchor make it ideal for structural applications, even at reduced edge distances and spacing. Recommended for permanent dry, interior, non-corrosive environments or temporary outdoor applications. The Titan HD anchor is most commonly used for sill plates close to edge, pallet racking, ledgers, and tilt-up bracing. Holes and fixtures to be mounted should match the diameter specified in the current Anchor Systems catalog. Be sure to double-check that the anchor will fit through the fixture hole. Be sure to use the correct diameter drill bit. Caution: oversized holes in the base material will reduce or eliminate the mechanical interlock of the threads with the base material and will reduce the anchor's load capacity. Insert the anchor through the fixture and into the hole. Using a hand or impact wrench, tighten the anchor into the base material until the hex washer head contacts the fixture. Use a Titan HD screw anchor one time only. Do not use impact wrenches to install into hollow CMU. The Wedge-all wedge anchors are a non-bottom-bearing, wedge-style expansion anchor for use in solid concrete or grout-filled masonry. Threaded studs are set by tightening the nut. Tie-wire anchors are set with the claw end of a hammer. The Wedge-all anchor is most commonly used for column bases, overhead applications, and ledgers. Holes in metal fixtures to be mounted should exceed the nominal anchor diameter by 1/16 inch for 1/4 inch to 5/8 inch diameter anchors, and by 1/8 inch for all other diameters. Be sure to use the correct diameter drill bit. Caution: oversized holes in the base material will make it difficult to set the anchor and will reduce the anchor's load capacity. Do not use an impact wrench to set or tighten the Wedge-all. Holes should be drilled and prepared in the manner previously explained. Assemble the anchor with the nut and washer so the top of the nut is flush with the top of the anchor. Place the anchor through the fixture and into the hole. Using a hammer, drive the anchor into the hole until the washer and nut are tight against the fixture. Using a torque wrench, tighten the nut to the required installation torque. Holes should be drilled and prepared in the manner previously explained. Using a hammer, drive the anchor into the hole until the head is seated against the base material. Set the anchor by prying or pulling the head with the claw end of the hammer.
Let's review what we've learned and the key do's and don'ts.
We learned that it is very important to properly prepare your holes. Location, spacing, diameter, depth, and cleaning are all important. Don't install anchors into dirty holes. We learned that proper eye protection is important during anchor installation. We learned that different adhesive anchors have different properties, and therefore, some are better suited for some applications than others. We know that the mixing and nozzles are very important. We know that we must dispense some material until we get a uniform color mixed. We know that we must allow the anchor to set undisturbed during the cure time. We learned that it is best to plan ahead and prepare all the holes in advance, and then use the adhesive and anchors rather than trying to drill and install one at a time. This will save us cost and nozzle frustrations. There are several types of mechanical anchors with different features and applications. We know that unless specifically selected, most anchors are for interior dry applications. We know that we are supposed to use a torque wrench to set most wedge-style anchors. We know that we are not to use impact wrenches with anchors other than the Titan HD. We learned that the Titan HD may be removed and reinstalled in the same hole as long as it is restarted by hand to avoid cross-threading. We learned to check drill bit size and fixture size before installing mechanical anchors, and that some can be installed directly through the fixture.